Hello, welcome back to another video, and today we're finally talking spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine. So, that means if you have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet, I mean, you should have by now because it's been out for a while. But, if you haven't, click away and come back after you've seen it. I'll give you a few more seconds to click away. Now let's dive into some spoilers. Chris Evans is back as the Human Torch. Daphne Kane is back as X-23. Jennifer Garner is back as Elektra. Wesley Snipes is back as Blade. Channing Tatum is actually Gambit. The Cowl actually exists. Deadpool dancing to NSYNC. Hugh Jackman is still ripped, and he's gonna hopefully he can stay that shape until he's 90. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Anyway. Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine spoilers. Where do I even begin? Well, I guess I can start by explaining. Yes, I still do not have Deadpool. Apparently, I only have unlocked my PS3, not my PS4. But I do now have the Cowl. So, that is awesome. Now, let's dive into some spoilers. Alright, I guess I can start falling to my death. I guess I can start at the beginning with the amazing opening. Not cool. With Deadpool dancing to Bye 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 by NSYNC. How are they up there? Never mind, I'm not gonna think about that. By NSYNC, while also killing a bunch of bad TVA agents, and that scene was just so much fun. It was like a blast, and it really set the tone. Where it was like, yes, this is going to be hard R with this extreme violence, but it's also going to be a blast with Deadpool dancing to NSYNC. It was so much fun. It's up there with one of like the best openings to a comic book movie ever. You know, up there with Avengers Infinity War, where Thanos shows up and kills half of Asgard, including Loki and Heimdall, and leaves Thor in a very damaged phase, as well as Avengers Endgame that opens with Hawkeye's family dying and leaving us in a very emotional state. Right up there is Deadpool and Wolverine with Deadpool dancing to Bye 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 while killing TVA agents. You can see how they are obviously very similar. But yeah, that scene is just... She just disappeared. Anyway, it was just a blast. It was so much fun, and it was so funny. I'm not gonna lie, I actually thought the first time I watched this movie, I've seen this movie 4 times now in the theater. Yeah, can you tell I like this movie? It's 4 times. Once in Dolby, once in IMAX, twice in Standard. But every time it's just a blast, and the first time I saw it, it was just like so much fun. Puts a huge smile on my face. But yeah, then we eventually get caught up. We go to 2018 in the Sacred Timeline, where Deadpool talks to Happy Hogan about trying to be an Avenger. And I think this brings up a question, because Cable's device, it's supposed to let you time travel only. There's nothing about it being able to let you travel the dimensions, but now all of a sudden you can change dimensions too. So he was able to go to the MCU. I don't know. Let's not think about it. It was a fun interaction. It was really cool to see Happy Hogan. That's all I'm gonna try to think about. I did talk about in the review how I feel like there's some questions that could be brought up if you think about the plot too much. One of the few issues with the movie. I mean, like one of the things I personally think, I feel like they could have done a bit better with Vanessa and Wade in this movie. Like, I think it would have been better if it was more obvious that the reason why Vanessa and Wade are no longer together is because of the time travel. And I feel like they kind of, the way they explained it, kind of seems like they just broke up after she was brought back, sometime after she was brought back to life for reasons not even related to it. I personally think that would have been better if that's how they did it, where because he time traveled, that causes them not to be together. But Deadpool is okay with it because it means that she's alive. They didn't do that. That's okay. He eventually gets taken into the TVA. We get to find, and he apparently it's for a higher purpose. And I wonder what this higher purpose is for. I think we're gonna find out in Avengers Secret Wars. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're setting up. I mean, we also get to see Thor holding Deadpool crying, which I also honestly I think that could come up in Secret Wars. If I'm being honest, I think there's a chance that it pops up in Secret Wars. Not sure. Maybe it was just a joke that kept going and it was hilarious. but I think it's a possibility. But yeah, and so we go through because we find out that his universe is dying because the anchor being of his universe, which is the first time we're hearing about anchor beings. His anchor being Logan died in Logan, and that means that in 2,000 years his universe will die. But Paradox is trying to speed it up and kill it quickly, so Deadpool tries to go find a new anchor being. Also, this is very interesting. I'm very curious. Who is the MCU's anchor being?
That guy doesn't look.
I think there are a couple options. I think Captain America is an option, but I honestly think the anchor being would be Iron Man. But with him being dead, I feel that means that the Sacred Timeline would die, right? In 2,000 years. But I don't know. I think we might get the answer in Secret Wars. Honestly, that's another thing I think that will pop up again in Secret Wars. I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, we get an epic montage with all the different Wolverine variants. We get short, comic accurate King Wolverine, which was hilarious. When I first saw it in the theater, I thought it was awesome. I was not expecting it at all. We finally got to see a comic accurate height Hugh Jackman Wolverine, and it was hilarious because he's short. We got to see another comic accurate costume, which was the yellow and brown. I forget the name of that costume. I think it was just called like Classic or something like that. And we even get to see the Hulk. We don't get to see the fight. We just get to see him roar and then punch Deadpool. We don't get to see him fight Wolverine, but they teased it. It was so cool. We got to see an Age of Apocalypse looking Wolverine, which was also really epic, and we did see another Wolverine. We got to see another comic cover brought to life, as well as the Calverine himself, Henry Cavill, Superman as Wolverine. That's another one I had no idea about, and I was like, wow, that is awesome, and it was so cool. Love the joke about how they'll treat him much better than the people down the street, and I mean, let's be honest, Marvel will, because DC fumbled so bad with Henry Cavill as Superman. But he's not going to be our Wolverine. Well, most likely. I guess we don't actually know, but I guess we'll see. I thought that was awesome. And then we finally get introduced to this movie's Wolverine. And I want to say, I think they picked made the right decision with what to do with Wolverine. Because with them making a movie with Wolverine being played by Hugh Jackman, they could have gone multiple ways. They could have had this take place before Logan, meaning that with our Wolverine, meaning that Wolverine had an adventure with Deadpool before the events of Logan, which wouldn't make sense since we have to retcon it, do a lot of retconning, or you bring him back to life. Both of those two options I think were not good ideas at all. Or the other idea, which they went with, which I think was the best choice, make it a variant Wolverine that just happens to also be played by Hugh Jackman. That's what they did. I'm really glad they made that choice. I thought that was a great decision. And we also got to have a new story with this Wolverine. So it doesn't have to be the same Wolverine we saw. We got to tell a whole new story. A story that I thought was really well done. I really liked how it helped add emotion to the story, which I really liked. So it wasn't... even though, yes, it is cameo, laugh, joke, we still get some heart in there, and a big part of it is with Wolverine and his story being pretty emotional. Not enough, it wasn't enough to make me cry or anything, but with his story of causing not being there to help the X-Men and then killing people afterwards because of the grief, I thought it was done really well. I really liked it. And we even got to see comic accurate Wolverine suit finally on the big screen after 20 years. Get to see the yellow and blue on the big screen on Hugh Jackman. It was awesome to see. And I thought they had a great reason for why, with it being because the X-Men wanted him to wear it, and he refused until after they died. I thought that was good. But yeah. Alright, so after this, he finds out that he can't have Wolverine be the anchor being, because you can't replace an anchor being, although it turns out to not be true at the end of the movie, which don't fully know how that makes sense, but whatever. Not thinking about that right now. We're not thinking about that.
That guy doesn't.
But so then they both get pruned and go to the Void, where we get an awesome fight scene between Deadpool and Wolverine, which I thought was so cool to see. It was so much fun. That's a big part of this movie. It's just a lot of fun. That truck just ran me over. It's a whole lot of fun throughout the whole movie. The fight scene is great. And then we get our first Void cameo, and it was crazy. All of a sudden we hear this voice that when I first watched the movie I didn't recognize. Rewatching the movie I was like, don't know how I didn't recognize the voice. He removes the hood. It's Chris Evans. they try to make us think. Deadpool even thinks that it's Captain America, and when Deadpool thinks he's about to go say Avengers Assemble, he says flame on, lights on fire. It's Johnny Storm, the Human Torch from the 2005 Fantastic Four movie, and the sequel, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. I think it was 2005 at least. I'm pretty sure. And then 2007, I believe, was the sequel. I think. And that was just so cool. That was so cool to see. I've actually heard that some people actually did get tricked. They actually did think it was Captain America when Chris Evans appeared, and then when he said flame on, it shocked them. They're like, oh my gosh, it's Human Torch. They weren't able to get me. They were unsuccessful. I knew the moment I saw Chris Evans' face that was Human Torch. The moment I saw his face, I was like, oh my gosh, it's the Human Torch. Mostly because I had no belief that they were actually gonna have Captain America in the movie. My guess before going into the movie was like, if Chris Evans shows up, he's Human Torch. He's not Captain America, and I was right. Although they did scare me because I honestly thought that they were gonna kill him off instantly because of the fact that Pyro uses his powers to get rid of the fire, and he falls, has a terrible, violent fall. I thought he was dead there. I thought they multiverse of madness us. Multiverse of madness? Madnesses? Whatever. Pulled the multiverse of madness and killed him off the moment we met him, which, as funny as it kind of was, still I was kind of disappointed at first, but he turned out to be alive. Thank goodness. So we actually had to spend more time with him. I remember hoping that maybe he'd actually be like a big part of the movie. He wasn't, as we will later see. But that's okay. I really like the reference Deadpool makes when he brings up Alioth, and Deadpool goes, "Alioth is in this thing from Loki season 1 episode 5." I thought that was great. I love that. And then we eventually meet Cassandra Nova, where Johnny gets himself killed by running his mouth, and Deadpool just quotes him. People seem to think that Deadpool got him killed. Nah. Johnny got himself killed. He told Deadpool to quote him with all the stuff he said. I'm just saying, and he dies in one of the most violent ways ever. I've explained it before that my theaters weren't very full when I saw them, but when that happened, the second, third, and fourth time, gasp from the theater. It was hilarious, very violent. Just poor Johnny. I was not expecting him to die in that way, but wow. Okay, so yeah, we get this whole void scene, and something I wrote down in my notes because I really thought this was nice, because another thing that we get with the heart in this movie involves Deadpool's story of him just wanting to save his loved ones. That being the main reason why he wants to save his world, and that's why I found it so good when in this scene, because we all know Deadpool's the merc with the mouth. He always has a comeback. He always has a remark. He always has a quip or a joke of some kind. That's why I thought it hit so hard when Cassandra Nova says, "You're not the world-saving type," and Deadpool has no comeback, no response. And Cassandra's like, "Oh, did I hit a nerve?" I just thought it was just so good, I think, and it added so much to this movie that helps make it it's not just a comedy, it's not just R-rated action. There's a heart to it from both Deadpool and Wolverine. So I thought that when she said that and he had no response, it just hit so hard and it was so good. We're gonna fast forward a little. The next thing I wrote down because I really wanted to talk about was when they're in the Honda Odyssey, and Wolverine gives like this speech about how bad of a person pretty much Deadpool is. That whole speech, which I'm not gonna repeat here because I wouldn't do it justice, was done so good. Hugh Jackman does such a great job with this, and if the Oscars actually cared about comic book movies, he should get an Oscar. Where is Hugh Jackman? Hugh Jackman needs to be nominated for an Oscar just for that speech alone. Wow, is it good. And Hugh Jackman did such a great job. This whole cast is great, really, but that to me, that was like, wow, that was good. And then we get another great fight scene between the two, which I thought was really cool to see. Very violent as well. It was awesome. But then after fighting all night until they eventually fall asleep, they're kidnapped. I mean, driven to a place where we get this epic team that I'm gonna call X-Force 2.0. R.I.P. X-Force 1.0. That is just so cool. So when they wake up, and the first person we see is Jennifer Gardner as Elektra from the I want to say 2003. I'm guessing. I'm not googling right now. So 2003, I think. Daredevil movie start with Ben Affleck, and from her own solo, I believe I want to say 2005 solo film Elektra, which was so cool. This is one that wasn't a big surprise because we knew about this, and if I mean, you might not have, but if you're like plugged into like the movie news and stuff like that, there were reports about it. It was confirmed by a reliable source, so we knew about Jennifer Gardner as Elektra. But it doesn't change the fact that it was really cool to see her, and then it just gets better and better. Because next up, we see Wesley Snipes returning as Blade from the original Blade trilogy back in, man, I want to say, was it the 80s or 90s? I can't even remember what the year they came out. But that was so cool to see. And then we get what might be my favorite, maybe second favorite, Channing Tatum as Gambit. That was awesome. I love all the jokes they made about it. Because in case you don't know, I want to say 2018, 2019 maybe, there were plans to make a Gambit solo film. Channing Tatum was meant to play him. They kept delaying it. It was going to come out in 2019 and then 2020. And then when Disney bought Fox, they just outright canceled the project. And it was very sad. But it was canceled. And now Channing Tatum finally gets to be Gambit here. And I think it's awesome. I love that he actually finally got to play the character. And I hope he gets to play the character again someday. And I found all the jokes that they made to be hilarious about him. About not... Are you sure that... They call me the Gambit. Are you sure... Or did you just really want them to and they never actually worked out? When they're saying how they were pruned, oh, I'm pruned to the void, oh, I might have been born here, I don't really know. People we wanted to save, people we saved or wanted to save, hilarious. I found all the jokes hilarious. There are jokes that will go over most people's heads if they don't know this about Channing Tatum and Gambit, but it was hilarious. Also stuff with them talking about who's your dialect coach, the Minions, hilarious. It was hilarious. And then who might be my favorite, just because it had the most amount of emotion to it, was Daphne King returning as X-23 from Logan. And it's so funny because they make jokes about... There's some jokes made about all of these cameos, but X-23 is taken very seriously. There's like no jokes made about her, and I'm pretty sure it's because of her involvement with Logan and that being a very serious film that people do take seriously. And all her stuff in the movie I thought was great. Not only was it really cool to see her back as X-23, but it was also just really emotional seeing her now grown up and seeing her interact with this Logan, having some of the best stuff with whether you're talking about her and Wolverine at the campfire, which was really good. It was so good. I'm glad that we were able to get her back. It's one of those things too. I think it's awful. I think that they spoiled it in the trailers. They released the final trailer that she was in, spoiling that she was in the movie.
That guy doesn't look too good.
Now apparently, according to a report that I read, they did it because Daphne King wanted to appear at the red carpet premiere. Personally, I think it would have just been better if she just appeared at the red carpet premiere without putting her in the trailer. Because yeah, let her go to the premiere. But why do we have to see a trailer? We might have guessed that she was in the movie due to her being there, but we wouldn't have known for sure. Kind of like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in the No Way Home movies. There were like a ton of leaks that they were in the movie, but because there was nothing like true, or nobody in the movie actually outright said that they were in it. There was a bit of doubt in our minds. I think that would have been the same way if we saw Daphne King at the red carpet premiere. We would have guessed that she was in the movie, but we still would have had some doubt, like, oh, maybe she's not in this movie. So I think it was dumb that they put in the trailer. They should have just let her go to the premiere without that, but you know, whatever. Although I will say, something I was kind of disappointed by, that I wish we got, with X-23 being in this movie, kind of wish we got a comic accurate costume for her also. I mean, we got a phenomenal looking costume for Deadpool, which looks great, the best live action costume so far when it comes to the 3 movies. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine finally gets to don the yellow and blue spandex. I kind of was hoping X-23 would get a comic accurate suit, because Gambit got an awesome comic accurate suit. So I was kind of hoping X-23 would, whether she gets the yellow and blue like Wolverine, or she does, I believe it's gray and black, I want to say. Either or, I kind of wish she would have had that but she didn't, which I kind of wish she did. But I've heard some theories that she might get it in Secret. She'll come back for Avengers Secret Wars and have it in that. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we get to see her in a comic accurate suit also. And I do want to say, personally, I think that if Marvel wanted an older X-23, like how the age Daphne Keane is right now, I think they could just keep Daphne Keane. I mean, they're keeping Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, so I think they could honestly just keep Daphne Keane as X-23 if they wanted to tell future stories with her being older. Then I think they should just keep her. However, I could see them wanting to recast if they wanted to go young, because in Logan she was actually really young, so I could see them wanting to go young again. So they'd have to recast. But if they don't and they want to be old and they want to go with older X-23 like in this movie, then I think they should just keep Daphne Keane. I really like how the story is that their worlds forgot about them, and it's kind of meta because well, Deadpool is meta, so it works, but also it's kind of meta because of how these movies are forgotten about. They're from forgotten movies. Well, I mean, I guess Wesley Snipes' Blade isn't, but their movies were left, especially Elektra. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Gambit obviously never even got his movie. I also really liked it when they go. Also, the scene when they first appear was like so cool. Like it outright gave me goosebumps. It was so cool seeing them come out with that music. It was awesome. I love the scene too where they're getting like very hyped up. Everyone's like, yeah, we're a team, we're in, we're gonna do this, we're gonna go back to her lair, we're gonna get these guys home, we're gonna get the ending we deserve. And they're all like, we're in, we're doing it. And then Wolverine's just like, you're all gonna die. And Deadpool's like, read the room. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie, where it's like, gives you goosebumps. It gave me goosebumps with how they were preparing, and then Wolverine says they're all gonna die. It was hilarious. We already talked about X-23 and Logan at the campfire. I thought it was a great scene, and it even made me feel the feels. I didn't outright cry, but it definitely made me feel the feels, and you always love that. To go into the mission, we got this cool thing where Blade uses his gun to blow open the Ant-Man corpse, and Deadpool asks, where'd he get that? Elektra says Punisher. And Deadpool's like, which Punisher? There's been like 5. And then I love this joke where Blade's like, there's only ever been one Blade, and there's only ever going to be one Blade. And then Deadpool just looks at the camera. I thought that was hilarious, because once again, it's another thing. In case you don't know, Marvel announced that they were going to do a new Blade movie starring Mahershala Ali as Blade, rebooting and recasting. And they announced that at San Diego Comic-Con 2019, and it's been in development limbo forever. They keep pushing back the release date. They keep losing writers and directors, and to this day, at this point in time, I keep getting run over by cars. To this day, at least at the time, technically by the time I'm recording this, it still has not made much progress. It's scheduled to come out November 2025, and because of how they haven't made any progress, it's most likely going to be delayed and come out in 2026. It's become a joke between fans about how long this is taking for this Blade movie to come out, and if it will actually ever come out. And they made the joke here. I thought it was great. Yeah, we get this awesome scene that also gave me goosebumps, where they're all coming out of the car. I thought that was awesome. And then we see Wolverine get out of the car last, and then X-23 puts on her sunglasses that we saw in Logan, which obviously doesn't make any sense. That's really just for us fans who watched Logan. I mean, come on, because why would you put sunglasses on before a fight? There's no need for that. It was just for us fans. I don't care. It was really cool to see. I loved it. It's followed up by an action scene that I really like. I've heard some people criticize it, but I personally really like this scene. I thought it was fun. We get a really cool scene where Cassandra Nova gets into Wolverine's head, and she silences the voices, which was, once again, it brought emotions, but not enough to make me cry, but still enough, because he explains what happened, more of what happened, about how he killed people, bad people and not bad people. And it was just done so well. When she actually silences the voices, it was like really cool to see. It was like really cool to see and hear.
Watch it, buddy.
I don't really know how to describe that. It was just something really interesting about the music swelling and all the screaming voices in the background, and then them talking, and then all of a sudden just complete silence. That was really cool. I thought so, at least. And then we get this epic line where she's like, I got you. And Wolverine's like, no, I got you. And we find out that they were able to get the Juggernaut's helmet on her head. And then I feel like this is kind of weird. So, because Pyro betrays her, he shoots her. They let her heal. Because they let her heal, she opens up a portal to let them go through. We'll talk more about that, why I think that was weird. First of all, I was not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping for more portal hopping, because the portal just takes them back to the Fox X-Men world, at least that's what I'm gonna call it, because we don't know, I forgot the numbers that they gave it. They go back there, they fall in the car, we get this great joke where it's like, that's Wolverine! Those are some of the trailers. Yeah, Fox killed him, Disney brought him back, they're gonna make him do this till he's 90. I loved that. I thought that was hilarious. The thing I felt feels kind of weird to me was how Cassandra Nowhere was like perfectly fine with everything until she found out that Paradox betrayed her, and then all of a sudden she wants to destroy every universe but the Void. To me, I feel like that could have been handled a bit better, because it kind of felt like they were just rushing to get to a finale that involving Cassandra Nova, because she goes from I love the Void, I want to live in the I'm okay with ruling the Void, you know what, you let me heal, so I'll let you guys leave. And then all of a sudden she's like, you know what, I'm just gonna destroy every universe but the Void. I don't know. I just feel like they could have handled that a bit better. I don't really know. I can't really explain how. Maybe give her more of a motivation, because it feels very jarring to me how her plan she just comes up, she just changes her plan to that on the spot, and it's just like, I don't know. This does eventually lead us to an action scene that I think is really cool, which is the Deadpool fight. First we get the speech by Deadpool Prime, as he calls himself, about how the multiverse isn't working, where he lies. I'm just saying. He says that the multiverse movies has been miss after miss after miss. I hate to tell you this, Deadpool, but I think you're kind of wrong, because, I mean, you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, Deadpool. That was a great multiverse movie. I'm just saying. And honestly, I don't think it's been miss after miss after miss. I mean, even like WandaVision was great. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, while having nothing to do with the multiverse, it's still in the multiverse saga, and it was great. But even like the multiverse itself has been done well, like a Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Huh. Maybe Spider-Man is just the one who does multiverse the best. That might be it. Huh. Alright, leave the multiverse stuff to Spider-Man. Okay, and Deadpool. Deadpool did a great job in this movie, for the most part. So yeah, like I did mention this before, how I kind of wish there was more multiverse hopping. I was kind of hoping for like a quick scene where they like were hopping through different portals. I think that's kind of what they were setting up, with showing us the portal in the trailers. But that's perfectly fine. We didn't need to see it. I just kind of hoping, because I thought it would be cool. Like I said, back to this fight between all the Deadpools after that speech, and after Deadpool, kills Nice Pool. But I mean, at least he gets Dogpool. Dogpool, by the way, is awesome. I love Dogpool in this movie. I think Dogpool is adorable. I don't know what anyone else is thinking. I've heard a lot of people think that ugly dog. I think that Dogpool is adorable. But yeah, we got this really cool action scene set to Madonna's, I believe it's Like a Prayer, I believe it's called.
That guy doesn't look so good.
Which was great, where we get the epic reveal where they're getting ready to go into battle. Wolverine puts his hands behind his head and he pulls up over the cowl as the building sign explodes, letting out sparks behind them. So cool. It gave me goosebumps. It was epic. That scene was so cool. And it's like, that was worth 20 years of build up. Well, maybe not, because it wasn't even built up to it. But it was so epic to see. After 20 years not getting to see it, we finally get to see Hugh Jackman Wolverine put the cowl on with the comic accurate suit. It was awesome. Granted, it was leaked in like every promotional material, but still, so cool. It gave me goosebumps. We get this awesome fight scene set with the song playing. That was really cool and very violent, just for them to all come back to life. Anyways, it doesn't even matter. And although
look so good.
it is definitely the problem is solved in a very ridiculous way, where literally Peter just shows up and it's like, oh my gosh, it's Peter. He's a legend in every Deadpool universe. That's like, it's so ridiculous that you kind of just have to be okay with ridiculousness. Otherwise, you're gonna be like, really? That's how they solve this problem. That really. So yeah, I was okay with it, even though it was very ridiculous way to solve the problem. But you know, it's fine. Also, I did want to point out this joke that happens before the fight scene that I thought was hilarious. When Nicepool shows up, I love the part where Nicepool goes, I can gently tap the fourth wall too. And he turns to the camera, looks at it, and says, the proposal. and then Deadpool just looks at him, looks at the screen, back at him. He's like, what was that? You think that's what I do? It was just, that, to me, that was like one of the funniest parts in the movie. It was hilarious. I loved it. It was awesome. But yeah, so I know this video is getting kind of long. Homestretch, folks, promise. They eventually go in, they stop Cassandra Nova, where we get some callbacks that I really like some set up payoff moments with just lines of dialogue. Like one of the lines of dialogue that they set up a payoff is with the whole educated wish, where Deadpool during their first fight between each other says that he can get that the TVA can fix his world, but he doesn't actually know that. He just thinks that they might be able to because of their how they're connected to the time travel and stuff. That's why he tells them, so he'll help them. And then in the car he says if they can fix your world, what's the first thing you're gonna do? And Wolverine's like, you lied to me. And Deadpool's like, no, I made an educated wish. And then later on when they meet this group of cameos, aka X-Force 2.0, Wolverine says that he's a liar, and Deadpool's like, no, it was an educated wish. And I love how in this scene at the end they brought it back, where Deadpool's like, I'm sorry, it should be me, you didn't want this, I lied to you. And Wolverine looks at me and goes, you didn't lie to me, you made an educated wish. I love that. Setup payoff is one of the most satisfying things in movies, and it's one of the most important things in movies. You have to have setup payoff in a movie, but you don't have to have it for you don't have to have it for everything. The fact that they have it as setup payoff for this joke, this line in the movie that's mostly a joke, is just amazing. They set it up with perfectly, and it was paid off perfectly. Speaking of setup payoff with just lines of dialogue, they also bring back the whole best Wolverine. Where throughout the whole movie, we keep getting told this is the worst Wolverine. Paradox says it when he explains that he wouldn't have accepted any other Wolverine because it doesn't matter what you do, you can't replace an anchor being. He says you have outdone yourself by bringing in the worst Wolverine. I think it's said a couple other times too. One of the other times that stuck out to me though was when he's talking to X-23 by the fire, and he's like, well, I'm not sure if you know this, but apparently I'm the worst Wolverine. And then here Deadpool tells him, you're the best Wolverine.
Not cool.
Once again, great, awesome setup, payoff, amazing. It was so good. It was just so good. I love when they do stuff like that in movies in general. I just love it, and it was great. The whole educated wish, the whole best Wolverine, love that. Anyway, back to keep going. This is when we get their sacrifice in a scene that I thought was great, where Deadpool's trying to connect the things to stop the machine, but would kill him. And then all of a sudden, Wolverine grabs his arms, puts his claws out, and the antimatter traveling between both their bodies, as "Like a Prayer" by Madonna plays once again. Just an awesome scene. They look at each other as we see flashbacks. I thought it was so well done. It gave me goosebumps once again. And then, obviously, because of course it does, it blows off Wolverine's shirt, because of course it does. Notice how it didn't blow off Deadpool's shirt, and it only blew off Hugh Jackman, Wolverine's shirt and nothing else. But still, you know, try not to think about that. We had to get Hugh Jackman's abs in here somehow. After all, it's a movie where he's Wolverine. We gotta get those huge jacked man abs. But yeah, it was just so cool. The joke with Deadpool looking at it and nodding his head was hilarious also. But yeah, with them looking at each other and the flashback playing with the song, it was so cool. The machine blows up. The machine blows up, and we get the Paradox lying to B23, I believe is her name, from Loki, which was really cool to see her here too after watching the Loki show. It was really cool. And he's lying to them, being like, I helped save this save this world. Too bad for the two guys, my two friends who went down there, who sacrificed their lives because they're heroes. But too bad we can't bring them back now, just for them to come back with another scene that looks so epic, where Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls play. Deadpool says how they're back, and that's how they're back, and they walk out with sparks flying behind them. Wolverine with the cowl but no shirt, Deadpool right beside him. Just so epic, and the way everyone's reacting, or most everyone, is just so cool. It was awesome and hilarious. It was amazing. It was great. Yeah, that's pretty much where things start getting wrapped up. Deadpool goes back to his world. It turns out that he was actually able to replace an anger being somehow, apparently. Although, I'm just not thinking of this. What if Deadpool's willingness to sacrifice himself meant that he was actually a new anger being, despite, even though Deadpool thinks that the new Wolverine is? Just a theory I'm putting out there. I don't know if it's true or not. It probably isn't. It probably is this new Wolverine who we might see again in the future, maybe. I'm still confused about that. But, you know, I just thought I'd just throw that out there. And then we get a fun ending scene. Something I want to say is I think we actually got 2 really good ending scenes, personally, with Deadpool. With Deadpool and Wolverine getting shawarma. Wolverine says he's about to go. Deadpool asks, will I see you around? Wolverine says, probably not. He picks up his cowl, pets Dogpool, says, see you around, bub, and leaves. Starts walking away. Honestly, I think that could have been an ending to itself, especially, I think it would have been nice, especially if this is the last time we see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Again, I'm not sure if this is or not, probably not. After all, Disney's going to make him do this till he's 90. But if they don't make him do this till he's 90, I think that would have been a good way to say goodbye. With him being like, yeah, you're probably not going to see me around, and then he's gone, and we don't see him around. But then Deadpool calls his name. I like the Madonna song. And he takes him home. He meets Blind Al. Get it? Because she's blind? I thought that joke was hilarious. Earlier in the movie, where he's like, you call her Blind Al? Yeah, well, she's blind. That was funny. That was hilarious. But we're not talking about that right now. Then we get an ending scene. We get the Fast and the Furious family dinner with Deadpool's family, but this time with Wolverine and X-23, which was interesting, which brings up some questions. So one of my questions too was, I was unsure if this was actually the X-23 from Logan, because it could have been kind of like with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in this movie, where it's X-23 from another universe that also happened to have been helped by a Wolverine, because maybe that's a canon event where a Wolverine helps the X-23. But I saw an article not too long, recently, that said that Daphne King confirmed that it is the same character from Logan. Why and how did she get pruned? I guess we'll never know. Yeah, she's at the family dinner now too. Also, another question I brought up. Also, what about the other ones in X-Force 2.0? Like, are Blade, Elektra, and Gambit dead still? And X-23 is the only one who got to come back? Or are they also in their own worlds? I'm very curious as to if they got to go back to their worlds also. Or in Gambit's case, actually got to go to a world in the first place.
Is it a plane?
But yeah, really nice. It was really nice to see Wolverine and X-23 together, actually smiling, because Logan was heartbreaking. It was just nice to see, even though this isn't her Wolverine. But, you know, still, it was awesome. Then we close in on a shot of both the Deadpool's mask and Wolverine's cowl as we cut and go to credits, which I think was a second great ending. It was awesome. And then we do get this montage in the middle of the credits showing different clips and, well, mostly behind the scenes footage from the Fox X movies, including all the X movies, all the Fantastic Four movies, and Elektra, playing by Time of Our Lives, Good Riddance by Green Day. And I thought that was really nice. I'm glad they had that in there. I personally thought it was sweet and cool, especially growing up watching the Fox X-Men films. I really liked it. I'm glad they had that. And then at the very end of the credits, we find out the truth. That Deadpool did not get Johnny killed, and we see how Johnny has such a foul mouth, unlike Captain America, where Johnny Storm gives a speech that Captain America would be yelling and cringing at how much language was used. And I thought it was hilarious. I laughed so hard at this scene. It was awesome. And Deadpool says how he got him. Deadpool is innocent. Johnny was the guilty one. Now we know the truth. We know the truth. But yeah, that's Deadpool Wolverine, mostly. There's a ton of things I'm pretty sure I missed that I could have talked about. Maybe I'll have to make a sequel video like Deadpool Wolverine spoiler review 2. I don't know. Because there's a lot I probably missed. But yeah, I really like this movie. In conclusion, I love this movie. I think it's great. I had a lot of fun with it. It's a blast. It's still very R-rated, but it's so much fun. But it has some heart, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, what did you guys think of this movie? Tell me all of your spoiler thoughts in the comments below. Spoil away. Tell me what you thought of all these cameos. And all the cool action scenes and the Cowl actually existing. Tell me all your thoughts. Thanks so much for taking your time to watch this video. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Please like if you like it. Subscribe for more. See you guys next time. Bye.